Joining me live now, Democratic Congresswoman Jackie Speier of California, a member of the House Armed Services Committee, which will hold a hearing tomorrow on the prisoner swap with Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel, who is scheduled to testify. Thank you, Congresswoman, for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation.
Now, you were at that briefing last night. One of the big concerns that I heard coming out of that briefing was that there just wasn't any new information. Did you learn anything new about the prisoner swap in that briefing last night?
Actually, there was new information provided. Of course, because it was a classified briefing, we're not at liberty to talk about it.
Can you tell us the nature of the information, Congresswoman? Did it do anything to calm some of the concerns that you've had?
Well, I think the issues regarding whether or not American soldiers were killed searching for Sergeant Bergdahl was an issue that was dealt with by the administration, but again, that information is classified.
So you can't tell us one way or another if they had information confirming or denying the allegations that 6 soldiers may have died looking for Bergdahl?
They provided clarification.
Okay. The other, of course, complaint that we are hearing from a number of your colleagues is that 80 to 90 administration officials knew about this prisoner swap, and yet members of Congress weren't briefed. Do you share the frustration of your fellow colleagues?
Well, let me first, Congress members have big egos, and so there's a fair amount of, why weren't we notified? The truth of the matter is that certainly the leadership, certainly the chairs of the Intelligence Committee should have been notified. The President has apologized for not notifying them. It was an oversight. I don't think it would happen again. Clearly, we should be informed. Now, the question that must be answered, though, is what would you have done with that information? We do not have the authority to consent to the actions taken by the President. In fact, he has clear authority to take this action. It is a notification action only, and in a signing statement that he made last year when the National Defense Authorization Act was passed and there was this 30-day notice language in it, he produced a signing statement that said he would not necessarily comply with it. So, he was on good footing in order to take the steps he did. I think in hindsight, informing some of the leadership and the chairs of the Intelligence Committee would have been the appropriate action.
When you heard that 80 to 90 administration officials were briefed, though, were you surprised by that? Were you frustrated?
Well, it wasn't so much they were briefed. They had to be brought into the deliberations in terms of logistically how they were going to go about doing it, whether legally they had the authority to do it. So they were brought in on a need-to-know basis. I think that leadership should have been put on notice. And beyond that, let's get on to understanding what was the status of these detainees. Were they subject to torture while they were at Gitmo? Were they waterboarded? They were highly placed within the Taliban. Now, for those that are concerned about releasing members of the Taliban, we need to remember that once we leave Afghanistan, whether it's totally in 2015 or in 2014, our ability to detain these Taliban members becomes much less certain. If we are not in an active war setting, our ability to detain them as POWs becomes suspect.
We are just hearing from House Speaker John Boehner. I want to play you a little bit of what he said moments ago and then get your reaction on the other side. Take a listen.
The biggest issue here is the violation of a policy that the United States has had for many, many years, that we don't negotiate with terrorists. We're going to pay for this. There is not any doubt in my mind there are going to be lost lives associated with what came out of this.
Congressman, we're just getting an AP News alert that Dick Durbin is saying that the Bergdahl deal was reached a day before the prisoner swap and that the U.S. learned the location an hour before the pickup. So before I get your reaction to House Speaker John Boehner, can you confirm that? Was that a part of the briefing last night?
No, I can't confirm that, but let me underscore the term terrorists. The Taliban is part of the fabric of Afghanistan. They were part of the leadership of that country before we engaged there. We are now actively attempting to get the Taliban to negotiate with President Karzai and the Afghanistani government, because there will be some cooperation, some level of coordination between the two if that country is going to survive and move forward. So to say that they are terrorists at this point is not necessarily accurate. Let me also say, Senator McCain has said a number of times that he was willing to exchange prisoners to bring back Bo Bergdahl. We have had a campaign by some Republican Congress members to bring Bo Bergdahl home. And one of those members has actually flipped and now says that he shouldn't have come home. I mean, you can't be on both sides of this issue. There's a lot of hypocrisy, and there's a lot of campaigning going on this issue right now.
All right, and the investigation into what exactly happened continues. Congresswoman Jackie Speier, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.